Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. Hope you guys are all doing well. So another McKola and Rory podcast has gone out today, Monday. Every single week we release a podcast. This is a short excerpt from that podcast. You can go and hear the full thing over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Amazon, etc., etc. The link is in the description below for the full podcast, which is available on all your usual podcast platforms. But for now, kick back, relax and enjoy this little 8-minute clip on Manchester United. In the red corner, United 0, Aston Villa 1. What went wrong? Now, I'll give you a chance to tell me what went wrong before I come back and probably tell you why I think you're wrong or why I think you're right or whatever. What do you think went wrong for United this weekend, Raw?
Adam, I think it's really simple. I don't think it needs like huge amounts of analysis or football IQ to understand where it went wrong. I think the answer is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he called it wrong. I think he played players out of position. I think his tactics were wrong. Arguably, you could make an excuse for him and say, you know, some of the players didn't turn up, the players didn't do enough. He can't be held accountable for Bruno Fernandes skying one into the Stretford end in the 90th minute. But ultimately, the results are his responsibility. And losing at home to Aston Villa, it's significant, man.
Mm.
Am I wrong to just lay all the blame at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's feet here?
I thought he got it wrong on the day. I really did. I remember at one point on the kickoff, I went to use that. This could be 1-0 either way here. Because that's how I felt the game was going. It was opening up, but it was opening up too much. And it felt like if we don't score, they're going to score and it's going to be a horrible day. I felt if we scored, we'd open them up 2, 3, 4-0. We're smashing them to bits. But it did feel like there was that point in time where it went, oh, this is in the balance here. And I felt like that came from midfield. But again, you have to blame your manager for that. I'm not a fan of McFred at all. I know Paul Pogba, people don't like to see him sitting in front of his own defence. And I'm cool, whatever. But I felt McTominay was invisible that day. And one of the things is when it gets rough and when it gets dirty and when you need sometimes someone to be battling in there, making themselves available for the ball. Fred, for as useless as he can be, is never afraid to make himself available. Is never afraid to make a mistake. Do you know what I mean? And I thought McTominay was invisible that day. And I feel if you're playing in midfield, you have to be there. And he went missing against a good Villa midfield. And I felt from the start we should have played Pogba. And maybe McTominay and Pogba, or Matic and Pogba, or Fred and Pogba. Pogba deeper in the midfield. Play your Sancho on the left, and you'll have some more creativity for Ronaldo. And I felt we didn't create any chances for him.
What's this Pogba on the left wing, Adam? This isn't right, is it?
It's basically... we want to play a 4-3-3, right? With Pogba as the left attacking midfielder. Because that's his best position. That's where he played for Juve. That's where he's best, right? And an alternative to that is having him kind of cut in from the left wing. So he's almost just like a left attacking midfielder, but from a bit of a wider position in the three behind the striker. And it works, but you're sacrificing a winger, do you know what I mean? Like you're sacrificing a winger. It's great for Pogba because he gets into positions where if he drifts, the fullback doesn't know whether to go or not. If the fullback goes with him into a central midfield position, then Luke Shaw's usually got the flank just free for himself. So sometimes it really works and it works well. But there's other times where you need a bit of creativity. You need your wingers to hold the ball. Now, people have criticised Jadon Sancho already this season. I don't agree with that at all because I feel like he's a young lad. He's just finding his feet at a new club. But to find your feet, you have to play and you have to get minutes. And I felt we should have started him. And not starting him was the wrong call. So you have to blame the manager.
We constantly heard last year. I mean, you were highlighting it a lot on the kickoff. You were constantly highlighting Manchester United's desperation for that piece of the puzzle, that right winger that was so integral to any sort of success. That right winger has now been supplied. A very expensive, proven on some level right winger. He's now not getting inside. Is that a mistake?
Look, it's early doors. You know what I mean? I said he should have started an earlier game in the season, and then Ollie came out after and said, well, he's been ill this week. And it's like, All right, I didn't know that. So, like, you know what I mean? How could,
Yeah.
like, I was clearly wrong. So, look, if there's something going on that I don't know of, or he's just not fit or whatever, then cool. But he's on the bench, so start him. Do you know what I mean? He started the other day against West Ham, start him. I felt like we should have played him in this game and had some more creativity there. Because at the moment, Greenwood was going through and he got very greedy that day, and that didn't help at all. But on the other hand, Maguire had a free header, Pogba had a free header, Bruno Fernandes on a penalty. You take your chances, you get a scrappy win. But we didn't do either, and the manager has to take it on the chin because that was a mistake. And ultimately, look, I won't judge things in September. You know I've always been that way. I never get too knee-jerk either way. But he'll be judged on these kind of results. And if at the end of the season, you've lost the league because of a few points and one of them's 0-1 against Aston Villa at home, then you're going to be judged for that. And if we ain't getting trophies this season, the manager's going to be held accountable because the team's more than good enough. More than
Also,
good enough.
do you know the other thing that result did? It made it 3 defeats in 4 games. With a massive week coming up now. You've got Villarreal and Everton. I think it's very unlikely that you win both of those games just because this is nothing to do with the form. You could have won the last 5 and I think you wouldn't have won those 2 games because law of averages suggests you don't win both in Europe and then in the league. It's very difficult to do that.
Yeah, I think we have to do it because we need 3 points in the Champions League and we need 3 points in the Premier League. But if you look at our fixtures after that as well, and I'm just going with the league fixtures here, we got Leicester away. We've got Liverpool at home. We've got Tottenham away. We've got City at home. We've got Watford away. And then we've got Chelsea away. So our fixtures are very difficult. And that's before we play Arsenal at home.
Who you can't beat.
Yeah, who we haven't been able to beat since they've been shit. So our fixtures don't get any easier, so the pressure could get ramped up very, very quickly on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Do you think they persevere with him now? You don't actually, like, I don't even think, as much as I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man for the job, as much as I don't think he is doing an especially good job, I also don't think that sacking him is the right move. Do you think they're not thinking about sacking him? That's not on the cards here.
I don't even think there's been a meeting about that.
No.
It's only something that exists in
social media.
Look, there's fans that go to games that think Ollie isn't the right man for the job, or Ollie is the reason why this team isn't performing. But in the stadium, they're supportive of the manager. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it should be. So I don't think there's any pressure from fans in the ground, and I don't think there's any pressure from the board at this moment in time. But you've seen the fixtures there. Another bad result in the Champions League. You go out the group stages for the second year in the spin. Maybe that picture starts to change. That's all I will say. I hope it doesn't, because if I see Ali lift a trophy for us, I'll cry some real tears. Because he's a hero, man. He's a proper hero. And look, I used to take the piss out of you for it. But when you were backing Lampard right to the bitter end, like, it's because you want to see that magic moment. Like, you want to have that, like, shit is one of ours, man. And he's just lifted a trophy for us. So I get it. But reality is Manchester United are a club that should be winning trophies. And if you're not, you'll be held accountable for it, especially with this squad. Right, moving on. So there you have it, guys. If you want to hear the full podcast, as I said, head over to Apple Podcasts, Audio Boom, Spotify, Deezer, Amazon, etc. and go and check that out. Leave us a review if you can too, because we appreciate all of your reviews. Follow us, subscribe to us, whatever they call it, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you're keeping it locked every single Monday. You can also get your questions in as well, because there's a section during the podcast where we take questions from our subscribers. How do you get your questions in, I hear you ask? Well, you can tweet us them using the hashtag McKola and Rory, MCKOLA, the letter N, and then Rory, RORY. So use that hashtag, get your questions in for us, and we may answer those on the next podcast. But for now, let us know what you thought about this week's in the comments below. I'll see you later.